Well, greetings, folks. We're back in Railroader today, and we're still missing the big maintenance of way patch, but this is something else entirely. And coming up on Halloween, just a few days away, this is all treats and no tricks. This is a massive, absolutely massive, humongous locomotive pack. 21 locomotives total. Um, will likely be on Nexus by Halloween, I believe, but this is primarily by Marquette Creations and a whole host of other developers or modders for Railroader and within the community. Um, a bit of a community effort heralded by Marquette Creations themselves, which just has a whole lot of stuff that we've got to go over and look at in this video. I'm excited. There's a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of varied and differential stuff that you can do, a lot of customizations. So without further ado, let's just get in there and look. Here they are laid out before us, all 21 of them, and there are many. This is almost like doing my head in, trying to look at all these, but I'm going to try and keep it short, quick, and concise, and just see what we can do with each of these new locomotives within the game. And I'd also like to shout out a big thanks to WNCRR and the gang behind this thing that offered me an early look at that. Which I very much do appreciate. Like I said, it should be out on the 31st, so Halloween, it's a couple of days. Couple of days away. It's Tuesday today, so it's Halloween Friday. And I think it's going to be on Nexus Mods, as with pretty much every other mod within Railroader. As you can see, having all 21 of these sumbitches is tanking my frames right now. I'm getting like 30, 25, 30 FPS, but of course you're not going to be running this many locomotives, of course, unless you want to. You can do whatever you want. But I'll link it down below under the video once it pops. And it will require a few requirements, as, a lot of mods do. Modding is not that tough within Railroad. The biggest thing you're going to need is like the asset loader or Unity mod manager. And it's quite simply a drag and drop your zip file into that kind of deal. Now, within this pack, you are going to need a few other requirements, such as Green Ninja's whistle mods, which a lot of you already have. Lego's library of stuff, which again a lot of you already have. These are all common things or mods or necessities or requirements for other mods, so they're not that far-fetched. It's pretty common. It's just a couple that you need. I think it's like 4 or 5 in total. But when you grab something off Nexus Mods, it basically links it right underneath. You click that link, you download that, you just go one by one. Like I always say, if my dumbass can do it, anybody can do it. All right, let's get this ball rolling. So this is a pack of obviously 21 locomotives, but there are several moguls, several Connies, several Mikes, several decapods, and I might be missing a few. So it's actually quite a few different engines with different variations, but I'd say about half are totally different engines, if that makes any sense at all. It probably doesn't. I'm already blabbing and losing my train of thought, pun intended. First off, the one on the left here we're looking at is the 06045. So to access this, as always, you're going to hit Shift T in the game. It brings up your consist placer. I've currently got it in sandbox just so I can place all these down without wasting thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. So I'm just basically going for the top. So where it says LLW, that's where we will start. So we're starting with the 06045 heavy switcher, and the locomotive itself has got 45,000 pounds of tractive effort, which is a lot for an 060. This thing could definitely do some work if it wanted to. Likely based on the Pittsburgh and Lake Erie Little Giant steel mill switchers. they could move a lot, and that's what they were based on, and that's what they were meant to do. And the thing looks pretty good. It's definitely a much chonker 060 than the one we have by default in the game. And with a lot of these locomotives, what's neat is when you place them down, they can actually change customization wise based on what's available for that locomotive. If that makes any sense at all. But we'll go ahead and click on that and take a look at it. We'll go to Equipment, Customize, and we'll bring this panel over here. So you can change a lot of things. We'll move over here. I know it's a bit dark. It's early morning. I booped up the exposure and things like that just to try and brighten it up some. But you can add things like class lights to it up to the top there. You can cycle those on and off, of course. Safety decals down near the pilot, which is definitely kind of a more modern thing in terms of like steam locomotive and railroads and things like that. You can add sand dome numbers up top there, off and on. You've got different types of lettering fonts, which is pretty cool by default. So let's see. Lettering font, we'll do PM Roman TTF, and then we'll just say boop, I guess. And there it is. So it's underneath the number, and the fonts actually change without having to do any kind of weird witchcraft that you may have had to do in the past with any sort of lettering and things like that. You could do the same with the numbering, which is pretty cool. So the numbering will change as well, and there's various types of numbering fonts, and they all look really good, might I add. And then you've got the default livery. So let's see if this one comes with any default livery. Like I was saying, when you place one down at random, it can, I believe, randomly choose one because it did on me. So I'm not sure if that's a feature. I think it is. I think it just chooses one. So we've got the all black. Hit apply. We've got the lined. There we go. That one's very fancy. And we have got the subpar southern. There we go. Got that lovely green. Then we'll go to black, American iron. And that looks nice there. That's just kind of like that dull or matte finish iron instead of just the shiny, dark black. As you can see on the boiler there. So let's go back to American iron. It just lightens it up a little bit. I think that looks a lot better. It looks a lot more appropriate in the game. It pops a bit more where, you know, most steam locomotives are black, obviously. The iron, the steel, all that. And it kind of just fades away into obscurity or in its own black hole to where you can't see it. So that's a nice option. You've still got the WNCRR bell replacer. You could add that if you'd like. You can do, you know, different types of coloring and things like that. I believe that's for the font as well. Let's check this one out. Yeah, so that's the numbers there. And you can change other things, which is pretty cool. So like the air pump, for example, I'm just going to make this absolute clown show. You know, it'll go right along with my video swimmingly. You can change the number plate, the cylinders. This is looking absolutely insane. The doors, the roof. We'll make that yellow. Kind of see up there. Yeah, this thing is turning out not very nicely. I mean, it's just down the list you can go. I mean, white walls. Did it actually? There we go. Windows. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. The bands, domes. We'll just try and do things that kind of pop out here. You can do the connecting rods, which is really cool. I like having the connecting rod kind of a lighter color, so it pops out a bit more as well, a bit more worn. Air pump trim, cut bar. I mean, Jesus, it goes on and on and on. Handrails, smoke box handrails. We'll do that. Grab irons. We'll make those kind of pinkish. Number boards. Can change those as well. It just goes on and on. And then, of course, all the whistles. So the whistle mod that's a requirement for this pack has just got an absolute F-ton of whistles. You can sit here and choose whistles till the cows come home, on and on and on. It's insane. So that is the 060-45. And the thing with the naming with these locomotives is you can really tell right away, you know, what you need it for based on that number at the end. So the -45 is the 45,000 pounds of tractive effort. So when you see that, that is basically your tractive effort. So whatever you need it for, look for that number. We'll pop inside here real quick. Looking at the 060, looks very nice in here as well. We've got a lot of these to look at, so I'm not going to try and look at too many little details. Black smoke is waste. Be careful. And the coal back here, I don't know if that's a new texture or model of the coal, but it does look pretty nice. It does look pretty nice, but that is the 06045, the heavy duty chonker, and I'm going to promptly go pour gasoline all over this thing and burn it to the ground because it's hideous. All right, we are now on to its younger brother or younger sister. This is the 060S32, so of course the 32 means what? The tractive effort. So this one's got roughly 31,000 plus change pounds tractive effort. Based on the engine used at the New Cornelia copper mine somewhere in Arizona in the early 1900s. I think it was kind of an open copper mine, so they did need some heavy duty equipment to move some of those funky looking ore cars to and fro. But again, this thing looks fantastic. I think the actual fire down here in the grate is a new addition too. I want to say I remember that being in some mods, probably from the same modder or one of the modders as part of this pack, but that's a cool little feature as well, especially when it's dark out, kind of spoopy. But you can definitely tell this thing is a lot smaller as far as the boiler, the overall kind of body size of the locomotive itself. But again, you know, just like the 060 Heavy, you can change just about any and everything on this that you want to. We won't go over it all since it's kind of the same engine being an 060. But as you can see, class lights, safety decals, handrails, you can change the coloring, the liveries. Let's go to lined, see what that looks like. Kabloom. Subpar Southern, being mean to the Southern like that. We'll go to the tender back here. Let's select that. Let's go to equipment. Let's click on customize, and then you can actually change the default livery. Why did I say livery? As well. So black, lined, and there we go. Things like that. So you can kind of match it up there if you were wondering if you could only do the engine itself and not the tender. And you've also got the nice kind of branding on there from the developer of the locomotive, so you won't see like Baldwin or Alco or anything like that. You'll see the Lunar Locomotive Works, and that is what the LLW stands for on the consist placer here, in case you were wondering. All right, then next up we have got the youngest sibling 060, since we had the big ass 060s just a moment ago. These are the babies. These are designated the T16, as we'll pop this open here so you can see. There we go. We put that right up there. So 16, T16, obviously 16,000 pounds force, tractive effort. So not a lot. You need something that a small industry, shuffle a few cars around. Bob's your uncle. This is it. And speaking of Bob's your uncle being well, it's kind of a UK phrase. You know, these are more worldly engines and not necessarily the United States. And what's cool about this pack is if this or another locomotive may not be up your alley, you've got literally numerous other locomotives that will be up your alley. So these still look very cool. I've always been partial to the way these look, the box tanks or the saddle tanks, even though it's not really a saddle. But they do look cool. The model looks fantastic, as usual with a lot of this stuff from these people within Railroader. But these are the two that you'll get. This is the 060 right here, and then this is the 062 with the trailing truck behind. And these suckers do look good. Let's go ahead and click on that. We'll hit customize. You can change all kinds of stuff in here, obviously with the livery, joint line. I like the way that looks. That kind of army green color there. We'll go Tank and Dankin. So that's like Thomas the Tank Engine. Obviously, love the name there. Fancy. Just white stripe, you know, things like that. But you could pretty much do just about everything that you could do to the other two locomotives that we looked at. And what's neat about these engines as well is they come with what would be the appropriate whistle. So again, within the Green Ninja whistle mod, it's going to have what would be the closest to the appropriate whistle for the real life counterpart for these things. But these 060 T16 in the game are based on the Ken Kidder brass models, a 20th century fella that built and imported train models, often from Japan and the Orient and beyond. Generally smaller and unusual engines and quite pricey, especially by today's standards. They do look very cool. I am not very much into model railroading because I've got other things that suck my money dry. So I do not have any funds to spend on model railroading, but one of these would be cool to have in its brass native form. But we'll look at the 062. Again, the model does look fantastic. Love the bars on the back. It's almost like a little jail cell. You can see the coal back here as well. Doesn't hold much, does it? Let's see, 1.2 tons and 1,000 gallons of water. Let's get up inside here. You got your little porthole window, very nice. Same on the side as well. Those are pretty cool. I do like that. Let's open the window. You can do just about everything you could obviously do with other locomotives within Railroader. But let's skip right along because we got a lot more to look at. Next up, we have got the T26. I believe it's the T26. Let's get back in here. Yes, it is the 080 Heavy Industrial Switcher. This thing is based on the Japanese Government Railways Class 4030 switcher, built by Baldwin. 26,000 pounds, well, 26,500 pounds tractive effort. So pretty thick. She's a thick girl. And again, looks absolutely epic. I've always been partial to, these switchers that are, not that I don't love my American stuff, obviously, but the stuff across the world that was shipped out like war era and built pre-war and, slightly post-war and things like that. And this is certainly one of them, like the ones we just looked at, the T16. They just look cool. It's unique, especially unique considered to what you may see in your region. That's why we as humans and people appreciate other things. Variety is the spice of life and all that, as they say. But this thing does look good as well. Let's see what we can do with this thing as far as customization. Customize. See what kind of liveries we get with this sucker. Put joint line on there, which is cool, so you can get rid of your font and have the Southern Appalachian joint line on there. Which you can go ahead and figure out what that means for yourself. Sorry, YouTube, if this breaks any rules, which I don't think it does. But there's a sand dome. You can put some marker lights on there as well, which is very cool. Let's see what we got here for the liveries. Black, it already is. Fancy. It's got the fancy wheels. Don't get my fancy wheels dirty. There's the joint line. And so it's just those four. And then you can, of course, do all the other stuff on here. But, man, this thing does look pretty darn spicy. Very, very nice looking locomotive. Let's pop in this as well. This one is neat, too, because it's kind of got that hanging out bit back here where it would hold the coal. So, it could just hold a bit more coal. I mean, and by a bit, 2.5 tons fitting right there is quite a bit. So that's pretty thick for something this small for coal to be its own solid cohesive unit, without having to pull a tender behind it. But it looks very nicely modeled in here as per use. You can open these back windows here, but you cannot escape. You've got a gun or a rifle up there just in case you see any coyotes or anything like that. Roaming the wilderness below. You've got your porthole windows again, which do move. I think this one's got the hoota. Yeah, it does. So it's cool that these kind of already come with, what would be like the appropriate whistle for these engines at the time and things like that. But very nice. All right, let's get right along. Now we've got a couple of Deca Bros out here. These are called the S47, so they're 2100 decapods, 47,000 pounds tractive effort, as denoted by the name, of course, with big old 55-inch drivers, and you got two of them. And the keen-eyed will point out very quickly that while they look the same, they are not the same. One of them's got the kind of older, which one is actually the older headlight style? I always thought like the lower headlight style was kind of the older and the upper was more modern. But anyway, this one directly in front of us has got the mid light, and this one has got the highlight. Of course, we did have decapods in the game, but these are super fancy, super customizable. Pretty much anything you can and want to do within the customization front of this pack. Let's go ahead and click on this one and see what we can do. I want to see these liveries. You can, of course, put class lights on there, safety decals, sand dome numbers. You can, of course, change the font. I'm not going to do that every single time, obviously. Let's see what the liveries are. Lined. There we go. Subpar Southern. There we go. Erie. Okay. And Susquehanna. Susquehanna. Let's see. Wait. What's different? I guess the numbering? Was that the difference between the Erie and the Sussy? Erie and the Sussy? See what kind of whistle this thing comes with. CNJ3 Chizzy. But Decapod, yeah, we already did have one in the game, but of course, you know, I could go ahead and plop one down here just so we can see what it looks like compared to what we got here. Let's see. Decapod, please. Boom. So there we go. This is the one that you get in game. Of course, it doesn't have all the fancy customizations that you can do. You will note some things like the awning over the cab windows. The cab windows themselves are a bit different, as are the doors. You can see the doors on the cab there on the front, and these are kind of angled. There's a lot of differences. I probably won't be able to, you know, point all of them out. You can see by the safety up here, that area is different up here compared to where this whistle's placed versus that one. So there are a lot of differences, and the longer you kind of sat and looked around, of course, the more you would notice. And then this one back here is the high headlight model. Let's get on the ground and get in this bag, girl, shall we? Don't mind if I do. Let's get our lantern on. Big old firebox. And, of course, open all the windows and doors, as with, you know, all the vanilla stuff you got within the game. So nothing broken or crazy about that, so they work as they should, just like all the other stuff. Got your water hatch there, an absolutely butt ton of coal, 14 tons, all in all. Let me out, please. Hello. Thank you. Okay, well, I guess we're stuck in here now. But Decapod built by Baldwin in 1900, I want to say, and it was the largest when built at 210,000 pounds, and that was for just the engine alone, of course, not the tender. These originally ran, and this is what these are based upon, is what I'm talking about. These originally ran around Minneapolis, Minnesota to, you know, Sault Ste. Marie, or the Sioux. And later rebuilt and renumbered to 950, hence the 950 number on there, and worked the ore docks in Superior, Wisconsin, Lake Superior, and then back to Minneapolis. I think they retired them in 1954, and now a static display shelter was made for this thing in Ashland, Wisconsin, where you can see this dinosaur of a golden era of steam. But that is the 2100 S47 Decapods, and you got two options that have a lot of options. Scooching right along, we got the Moog Bros. We got some moguls. We got a light mogul here in front of us and a medium mogul down to the right, as you can tell just by looking at it, versus, you know, a side-by-side comparison. But, yeah, let's see. Let's click on the thingamabob here. This is the light mogul. We'll add it there. So it's designated the 26019 because it's got about 18,000 and change pounds force tractive effort. Based off the engine built for Virginia Central. And I believe ended up at Augusta, Arkansas primarily. I think it went a couple other places as well until its eventual service demise, as with a lot of this stuff. So again, this is based on an actual locomotive from an actual place. Let's see what we can do with it here with the equipment and customization. See what kind of liveries we got here. black Russian iron, or the kind of blue. I've always enjoyed the way that looks as well. Very much so. We got the Southern on there. We got lined black, and then none, which is, I guess it's almost the same as black. But this one's got awnings as well. Typical mogul. It's kind of light, obviously, 19,000 pounds force tractive effort, but it does have 3,500 tons of coal, 3,500 gallons of water. This one's got 9,000 tons of coal and 6,000 gallons of water. So just looking at them side by side, let me get that stupid window out of the way. You can tell which one is more chonk and less so. I do enjoy that kind of stepped, slanted tender. I've always liked the way those look as well. But as far as going further and getting more done, this one would be your doggy here. Big old boiler on that sucker. Let's get in there and see what we can look at. See if anything is in here. We got any fancy bits and bobs. We can open the hatch there. Yeah, the insides of these things look, as they should. They look right at home, and Railroader doesn't look out of place or anything like that. In fact, if these were, straight from the developer into the game via Steam, they would just fit right on. But they look really, really good. Let's get in the back one here. The medium duty. The 112. This one is the 26029, so 29,000 pounds of tractive effort. So in addition to a lot more fuel that it can carry, it's got a lot more tractive effort as well. This one's based on the Bevier or Bevier, however you like to say it. There's always somebody that's going to try to correct me, and that's fine. Correct away. Bevier and Southern number 112 Mogul, obviously, because it's 260, built 1921 by Baldwin and used by the B&S from 1921 to 1963 in Missouri, now on static display. So it was saved from the scrap heap, and it's a very nice looking locomotive as well. Let's see what kind of livery options we got here. Of course, again, class light, safety decal, sand dome numbers, headlight. What does the headlight do? Oh, it changes the headlight. So that one's got a different deal. That's pretty cool. Then you got the handrails up or down. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right. Liveries. Subpar Southern. That hurts. It hurts. Then you got the Russian blue. Yeah, looks good. Couple of Moogs, man. We got the light Moog and the medium Moog. Whole lot of Moog. Do you like consolidations? Well, you're in luck. Yes, that was a P joke. You're in luck. Yes, I know. The dad jokes, well, they're not even strong with this one. But anywho, we've got a lot of consolidations here. One of my favorite steam engines ever built, a 280, a Connie, alongside a Mike, of course. I don't like the big ones or the super small ones. I like the right, perfect size, especially for Railroader. The 280s are right at home in Carolina, in this area. First, we'll start with this little sucker right here, the 280-21. This is the light Connie. And let's go ahead and click on the customization. Class lights, of course, safety decals, sand dome numbers, pilot, headlight, and smoke box, handrail. So you can change the headlight on there as well. So it's kind of a gooseneck versus the standard option on there. Let's see what we got as far as the livery. Black line, subpar Southern. And the Russian iron. The Russian iron actually kind of slaps on that bad boy. But it's it's a small Connie, 21,000 pounds tractive effort, as denoted by the name. Once again, an engine based on the Louisiana Cypress Lumber Company, built by H.K. Porter in 1914, which ended up on static display in Ponchatoula, Louisiana, I think on the now Canadian National main line. I don't know if it's under a shed or not. I don't remember. But I know I'm pretty sure it's fairly accessible and still there. But little baby consolidation that that hauled that sweet, sweet cypress lumber. I don't know how we got all the way over there, but let's run down here. Let's actually just do that and save some time. I did not select it because I'm an idiot, so let's go ahead and select it. There we are. Okay, so we are inside the cab. You've got your hatch. Can you actually open the hatch? I don't know. I don't know if I'm hitting the click spot. Hitting the spot just right. Can't open the windows, fronts and rears. Again, looks very appropriate in here. I don't see anything amiss or out of whack. Was this the one that was an oil burner? I think this locomotive might have been an oil burner, IRL, or it was upgraded to burn oil. One of these locomotives was, and I want to say it was one of these 280s. I don't recall. But that is the light duty, moving right along. So with the rest of the Connie Bonnies, we have got 2 mediums on the right-hand side, and then 2 heavy, thick girls on the left-hand side. So first up, the 280-35. So these 2 here, 35,000 pounds, tractive effort. Based on the Sierra 24 and Rahway Valley 15. The 24 was built in 1912 by Baldwin, and one of their more powerful engines on the 3% grades that they had to run revenue and passengers on. Scrapped 1955 eventually. The Rahway Valley variant, also built by Baldwin, obviously, 1916 for the Oneida and Western. Later sold to Rahway Valley in the early 1900s at some point. Bad with numbers sometimes. But last ran revenue in the 50s, as with a lot of steam locomotives. And this thing is on static display as well at Steamtown, USA, none other, of course. So let's look at these 2 side by side. So this one here is the 280-35 medium. This one here is the 280S-35 medium. So what is the difference? I don't rightly know, folks, but let's try and find out together. So we're going to try and do a nice comparison here, side by side. Because is it the tenders? That's 9,000 ton of coal. 9,000, 5,000, 5,000. Yeah, guys, I don't rightly know what the difference is. The tenders look about the same. Is it the power? Let me back here, damn it. There we go. We'll get inside. Green interior on that. I love the ducting and the piping in here. That is very nice. And the handles. Let's get in this one over here. What is the difference between the 2? Same yonder. Okay. Let's look at... What am I missing? I feel like it's something so glaringly obvious. But my overthinking of it is blinding me like a complete numpty. Let's see, that's the heavy. It's medium, S35, 35. 109 tons. What is the difference? I guess southern? Maybe it's just a southern designation because it's green? I honestly don't know. Let's click on the one on the right here. Let's go to Equipment, Customize, Class Lights, Decals. Let's go down to the liveries. You can add the subpar Southern to that as well. They're so mean to the Southern. So mean to that SOU. Okay, let's click on the S variant. Go select Equipment, Customize. Okay, Monadnock, Steamtown, and Inn. Okay, so it adds some different customization that you cannot do to that one. So it's the Steamtown variant. Got it. Got it. You can see the number on there has changed as well. The road number. So that's pretty cool. You've got actual variations. And there's probably some other things that have been changed as well that I'm just too scatterbrained at the moment to try and pick out and find. But it's cool that we've got both options and a super specific Steamtown, USA option as well. But let's get to them heavies. So again, we've got the 280S48, and I guess the 48 because they got 48,000 pounds of tractive effort. Connie's based on, I think, the Nevada Northern 81 Connie built by Baldwin in 1917 for passenger and goods, one and all. And one of the Nevada Northern's operable excursion leaders still, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty cool, or it was recently. I don't know about the exact moment in time and space as of right now. So maybe that's the differentiation between the two. This one has the center headlight, as you can see on the right. This one's got the upper headlight. They should have the same tender, 18 ton of coal, 18 tons, 7,000, 7,000. Let's go ahead and click on the center headlight and see what we can do here as far as customization. Class lights, decals, sand dome. I'm just looking for anything that might stick out that I have not yet seen. Coke and Coal Railway. There we go. Very cool. Coke and Coal Railway. Now, I don't know if this is in relevance to the Coke and Coal out of West Virginia, or there might have been one out west as well. I rightly don't know. But I know there was a Coke and Coal in West Virginia at one point. They kind of ran right through the heart of West Virginia. I think it ran from Elkins southwest to maybe Charleston. But that's cool. I like the way this thing looks. It's very clean. It looks legit. It looks realistic. You know, do something with the tender there. Obviously not my random ass West Bryson, Dillard, and Southern. I think that's one of the random ones that you can get from the random name generator. But that thing does look pretty good. I like the font and the iconography on that. So that's pretty cool. And then we got the Southern looking one over here. Let's click on that. Select, equipment, customize, class lights. All that's the same. Black, Russian iron, lined. There we go. Did I see another one on this number 80 right here? Let's go back and see. Customize. Okay, so it's just the subpar Southern as well. So there's 6 on there as well. So Connie's, man, I friggin' love Connie's in the game. I will definitely be using these. They look fantastic. We didn't get inside the Chungas Connie Stogas, the Constellationes, the Conums, but it looks about the same as the other one. Black smoke is a waste. Be careful. Let's go in this one and see what it says as well. Same as same. Oh, yeah, that one's a lot more giganticus on the inside, the firebox there. That one is a lot smaller. So there is a difference there. That is pretty neat. So I'd say that one's more of the older variant, and this one's more of the modern variant. But we got the Connies out of the way. Let's get next to the lineup. We got a plethora of mics to look at here, gang. Just like the Connies and the Moguls and the 060s, there's a lot of variations of a lot of wheel arrangements. And this might be one of mi favorito. Let's go ahead and hop inside here because I love the Mikado. I love the way it looks. It's got a cool nickname. You can just call it Mike, one of the coolest characters from Breaking Bad, obviously, because Mike is a badass. But the tender, man. So, like, the standard 282 in the game is not that great. I feel like it's got one of the kind of worst overall model and texture looks that was never updated and just kind of crusty in some areas. I get it. It's one developer with a couple of people helping. But we got this thing now. This is the 282S30. So, it's got 30,000 pounds of tractive effort. Very large and in charge. 44-inch drivers. This is based on the Mount Rainier Scenic Railroad number 5, a 282 Mike, obviously, built by H.K. Porter in 1924. One of the largest porters built at its time, new anyway. It was built for the Flora Logging Company. Obviously did logging. Last operational service was 2003. And I think it's presumably being overhauled currently still at the MRSR again. I remember seeing stuff like this about these engines in passing. I don't know to the exact date. If I did say they were working on it today, a week from now, it could be done, and somebody be like, "Hey, it's running now." So I don't know. I know it was running, and then it's not. So restoration, yada yada. But mics are cool as shit, man. Login locomotives are my jam. The tender on this thing looks pretty sick as well. Look at the back of this thing with the cross members on there. This is special. This is probably one of my favorite, easy top 3 out of this whole pack. Just a unique engine, and it's a mic. Mics are cool as hell. Let's get in this thing right quick. What have we got here? Some friggin' whole kernel corn. That's neat. But old Shawnee Bonbon likes him some sweet corn. So I'm gonna leave that there. Whoever, may want to grab that. Feeling a little peckish, need a can of corn, that's all yours. If it was sweet corn, it would be gone. Or summer crisp. I'm all about them corn flavors. But this thing looks pretty epic inside, as with all the other stuff. You can't open the vent as well. Got that black smoke thing up there. Let's see how much this holds. 11 tons of coal, 7,000 gallons of water. Let's get up on the front and have a looky-loo at what we can do. Look at this thing, man. Absolutely majestic. I freaking love Mikados. All right, equipment, customize. Let's go down here. What do we got? Class line, safety decals, sand dome, numericals. Let's look at the livery. You can put the Southern on there if you want, the line, and just make it make it look like clown vomit, like I did to that very first locomotive, if you'd like. But yeah, that's the S30, a mic with 30,000 pounds tractive effort, and that friggin' tender, man. That is just, the engine's cool, but that tender, guys. Wowzers. Jamming right along, we got some more Mikadoos, and these are the light Mikadoos. So these are the 282 S35A and B. So they obviously have 35,000 pounds tractive effort, 54-inch drivers. A mic built by Alco/Brooks in 1921 for the Mississippi Central, numbered 120, and later sold to the Louisiana Eastern in 1953. Don't know much about it beyond that. Maybe this was the one that was later oil fired. I don't recall. I know it's one of these. Let's go ahead and click on this one here. So this is the let's see what we got customization wise. Holy schmoles. Okay, let's get this out of the freaking way. Safety decal, sand dome numbers, number plate A, footboards, a different pilot, a wood pilot, class lights. This one's got a ton of different headlight options, as do some of the other stuff we're going to be looking at here in a second. So that's headlight option number 1, headlight option number 2, and number 3, bell on the front as well. I don't know how that works. Maybe you can get rid of the top bell somehow. Let's look at the livery. It's already on the subpar Southern, I believe. Yeah, it is. That lined. There we go. That's pretty. Very pretty. Light Mikado. Very slender, larger drivers. Maybe the drivers aren't larger. I don't recall, but it seems like there's less of a prominent gap, which is one of the notable things with Mikados. This one holds 15 ton of coal, 6,000 gallons of agua. Let's get up inside here, see if we can spy anything. Again, all looks fine and dandy in here, as with a lot of the Mikados. I would reckon they do. Let's look at this one here. This one is 15 ton as well. 6,000. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, already seeing... Okay, no, they've got the pipes down to the cylinders as well. I forget what the actual name is there. Let's click on that. Select equipment, customize. Airplay, wood pilot, class lights, headlights. Let's see, default liveries, minarets and western. I guess. Did anything change? Did I do it right? Did I do it right? Huh. I don't know. I guess it's the legit. I don't even know what engine this is, to be completely honest. I think it did change because of the number coloring. But like Mikados, if you want to do some not so super heavy work, you can certainly do that. But I mean, Jesus, 35,000 pounds tractive effort is still quite a bit. It's actually a bit more than the Mikados that we were just looking at. But one can never have too many Mikadoos, just like Connie's. Love me some Mikes and Connies. All right, we're getting into the fun stuff. This is the heavy Mikado, the 282S51, 50 and a half thousand pounds of tractive effort. Big old 63-inch drivers. I think these are based on the Northern Pacific's W class Mike in operation, starting in the early 1900s, like 1900 something. Common haulers at the time used quite a bit and well liked. Later upgrading to superheating, like a lot of roads did with their steam engines, and trusted and just known as to be pretty reliable for the road in their crews. But there's quite a bit you can do with these as well. I'm going to go ahead and click select on that. Equipment. Let's see. Class lights, safety decals, sand dome numbers, throw handrails on there, running boards. You can change the stack, which is pretty neat. So this is a unique engine in that regard. I think a couple of these you can actually change the stack there. Nameplate differentiations. So you've got the round or the rectangle. It's pretty cool. PM pilot, NW pilot, LLW pilot, footboards, New Zealand pilot, and then you've got headlight variables. So there's 5. Jesus. That's the first one, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. And outside branch pipes. That's the friggin' name that I was thinking of, the pipes that go down next to the cylinders there. So that's pretty cool as well. You can do a lot of stuff with this one, which is pretty neat. What do we got here as far as the livery? Subpar Southern, which it already is. It's really hurtful, guys, having to say the subpar part. It's funny, but I get it. And then we got the Russian iron, or the blue, which looks very cool as well. So that's a chunky ass mic right there, guys. 19 tons of coal, 10,000 gallon of agua. Rear light as well. Make sure these markers work. Indeed, they do. Let's get up in here. Should be nice and spacious, sitting up high. Look at that unit. Absolute unit. Open the windows there, front and sides. Let me up there, damn it. There we go. Can we not open those? Those might not have opened IRL. Got some hatches. 2 hatches, which is pretty unique to this engine. I don't know if there's any other locomotive in Railroader that's got 2 hatches like that, so that's pretty cool. But this thing's got a long-ass cab on it, for sure. But this ain't the only heavy mic. We've got, just like going to your favorite drive-thru, and you get, you know, Taco Bell or something, and they ask if you want deluxe or supreme. Well, we got deluxe. And we got deluxe. That means you're getting tomatoes, lettuce, onion, pickles, and all that crap. This is the 282S56, 56,000 pounds of tractive effort, 63-inch drivers, based on the Milwaukee Road L1 class. The mic was built by the railroad themselves in 1909, and she's a big girl. Okay, it's a mic, and it's a big mic. That is just cinema right there. That is absolutely breathtaking. What a hog of a unit to behold. Let's select it. Equipment. Let's go to customize. So we've got class lights, safety decals, sand dome, different number plates, different pilots, footboards, and your headlight options. You can add every damn headlight if you want. Look at that. It's amazing. It looks like some AI stuff, right? It's like Will Smith eating spaghetti. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and leave one headlight on there. Oh, there's a sixth one. Jeepers. Okay, there we go. And what do we got for the default livery? There we go. Look at this friggin' unit. So this one's got more tractive effort than the other one, obviously being the 56 designation. And the inside looks apropos. Very nice. Just a ginormous friggin' tender. And yeah, it's a beauty. I don't know if I'm going to use anything other than Mikados or Connies in Railroader ever again. All right, and probably award for the one of the coolest and more unique engines in the pack are these heavy Pacificos. We've got a 36,000-pound tractive effort variant and a 39,000-pound tractive effort variant. Big ol' 69-inch drivers based on China Railway's SL6 class. Since 1933, commonly used in passenger service, with 422 of these sumbitches built, and they are very large and in charge. And these have a lot of customization, which we will go over presently. So let's go ahead and click on this. We've got a couple of interesting things on this one, as with a couple of these engines, like little Easter eggs, if you will. Safety decals, Sandow numbers, number plates, different types of pilots. We'll leave that one on there. Footboards, you've got different headlights. You've got class lights low, class lights high. Smoke deflectors, which look pretty damn cool. Like them smoke deflectors. Board on the front. Ladders, which are on the side here. They're kind of hard to see pop on and off. And Clarkson's Grace, kind of like, I guess, the Chairman Mao's Grace, but we'll pop that on. And you've got Jeremy Clarkson, glorious leader, Jeremy Clarkson, on the front of this Pacific. And it's very crispy, and he looks strikingly handsome in this image here, Mr. Clarkson the Great, ruler of the world. And yeah, I have no clue what that says. If anybody knows what that says, let her rip in the comments. I'm almost afraid to know what that says. Hopefully something to do with Clarkson himself. You can actually put Chairman Mao on there as well, and then click the China Rail thing, and it actually changes the wheels. Makes it look very, very fancy. Let's untick that. Let's go down to the liveries. This one should have a couple of liveries. 4 1/4. So that's blue with some striped drivers, which looks nice. That color goes on there very, very nicely. Banner blue. That one looks pretty spicy as well. Subpar Southern. Being mean again. And then you've got your standard lined and things like that. Let's get in this big old chungus and see what's what. Very large, big old Pacific. So if you want something unique to run your passenger trains, or hell, your lighter, I mean, you could just run regular freight revenue with this thing. Honestly, it's friggin' huge. 19 tons of coal, 17,000 gallons of agua, light on the back. Let's go back to this one. This one is the 39, so this is the largest and in chargest, 39,000 pounds tractive effort for the Pacifico. It's got the little extra bits and bobs on there as well on top, which that one does not have. Let's go ahead and click that and look at the customizations as well. Let's see, decals, dome numbers, different pilots, footboards, headlight, one headlight. Smoke deflectors, board, ladders, Clarkson's Grace, so you can put that on there as well. China Rail, you can get the white bits on there if you would like. Very nice. A lot of customization. 21 friggin' locomotives, guys, and this is going to be free for the community, which is awesome. And it's to my knowledge, not going to be held back by someone that may have different views than someone else on this big blue and green marble of ours requiring VPN. This will be loaded on Nexus and not withheld from the community. As far as I know, hopefully not, but it's a very cool pack. One of the largest packs I've seen to grace Railroader yet. Very exciting. I have been playing Railroader lately, obviously. Been doing some other things here and there, but this might get me back into it, of course, with the Maintenance of Way update, which we have been waiting on for what feels like a decade. But we know when it's done kind of thing. But very cool pack by Marquette Creations and gang. And thanks once again for letting me have a peek at this thing early. Very based pack. I'll link it down below under the video as per usual when it drops in a couple of days. What is Halloween Friday? So not too far from now, and you should be able to get your grubby hands all over this thing. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.